She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy gazpacho.
Bournemouth can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Right, did you know that Arsenal died?
He's got me buzzing.
Up the talkies. It's hard to up them anyway.
I'm not even gonna comment on that.
Welcome back to our Championship Sunday episode of Footy with the Boys. We have all the previews and some very important recaps, as we did have some midweek games that had a huge impact on our title race and our Champions League race. We will get into the title clinching game. We'll get into our top 4 spots confirmed. We're going to talk Championship Sunday preview and get into everything else, including locks and our producer P question. But first, boys, let's start with a little MLS arms race going on right now. Inter Miami brought in Messi, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, and about every South American young player they could possibly find. LAFC is potentially trying to respond to that star power. They have just announced the signing of Olivier Giroud from AC Milan coming over. The striker will come over to join the just powerhouse that LAFC already is. And now in that Western Conference, you have a team that's starting to get some star-studded players there from huge European spots. And they're also rumored to be getting potentially Antoine Griezmann, potentially leaning their way. He was, pitched the idea of Inter Miami and is now considering LAFC to join both Hugo Lloris, who is already there, Giroud, who will now be there. Get the French connection going there in LA. Boys, if they get Olivier Giroud and Antoine Griezmann, is it just we have two forms of the 2018 Warriors with KD joining them, and we just have two super teams that are going to meet in the final, almost guaranteed?
I think Mbappe's going to come. Pretty sure that press conference.
Word on the street.
Yeah,
he said it is an exciting next step in his journey. I can only imagine that's LAFC.
I think he's leaving it out there for LAFC to come get him. He is
Maybe
French.
Columbus Crew.
Okay. Why? I don't know why.
I don't know. I will say, husbands of LA, beware, because Olivier Giroud is about to arrive on the scene, and you better hide your wife. Oh my God, what a good look at that photo shoot, bro! Jesus,
Handsomest footballer,
photoshopped, but God, what a good looking guy. I will say, San Jose Earthquakes just signed Maradona's nephew or something, and we're undefeated in 3 games since. Yeah,
wow.
So we're building our own super team in the Bay.
Super team, potentially. We'll see what happens there. But maybe another big arms race steal that we can talk about is another rumor that Kevin De Bruyne has been approached by the new San Diego expansion team to be their marquee signing when they open up their franchise next year in the MLS. Boys, if Kevin De Bruyne goes to the MLS at this point when he's still dominating the Premier League, are we talking 30 assists or are we talking more? Like, holy.
Him and Messi, dude. I mean, I don't know who he'll have to assist. He might have to just score the goals himself. Expansion team, those either can hit or miss. We've seen it with a few of the teams that have come into the league recently. Minnesota balled out. The other ones, I'm not so sure. So that's a weird one. Nick, would you like to see him to come to California? Pretty close to you.
I hate SoCal, but San Diego is super chill. I love that place. So that'd be cool. I wonder if they give him the armband, make him earn it for a season, maybe.
Make him earn it. Yeah. All the veterans of the club, I'm sure, will be there. I think if Kevin De Bruyne goes to MLS, that does entice other people to go to MLS.
He's not going.
Yeah. But I think it does show that maybe San Diego is trying to get some type of crazy signing like this and are willing to just spend some cash on some big name. I think that's promising.
I heard that they wanted Maradona's nephew, but they had to settle for KDB. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's, that's what they're saying.
We're just a bigger draw, I suppose, than the inaugural San Diego team there. But
That's what I heard on the streets of the West Coast.
we'll see. We'll see. Maradona's nephew has gone off the list, but I guess people can settle for some other stars from Europe. We'll see who comes into MLS. I think an arms race has been started from Inter Miami. If the MLS is going to look the other way on these crazy huge deals to bring in players and skirting around the roster rules, I think it's about time that everybody else starts not following the rules that closely as well. And maybe the owners want to, spend their own money, get rid of kind of all the gam salary cap type shit.
Really, really seriously, like it's not gonna happen because they're all gonna want the Messi deal. And like the MLS is gonna run out of money. Like they don't have the, KDB, I think, would demand something not all the way to Messi, but something similar with just the level of player that he is. So I don't know. I don't think it gets done.
I think they can sign those players because you don't really have like a salary cap per se, because you can pay your designated players really anything you want. So as long as the owner is willing to fork it out and can reach the level he wants, you're gonna make it. Messi was a different case because he was on the other side was an offer of like $1 billion from Saudi Arabia, so you had to go crazy with Apple TV with everything.
That offer will be there for KDB too. Maybe not $1 billion, but something astronomical.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think KDB is less likely to accept the Saudi Arabia deal than Messi was.
Messi?
He has honor.
Messi already had a deal with Saudi Arabia for tourism.
I don't know, bro.
I don't know. Listen, we can get into that. Speaking of MLS, Canada has announced Jesse Marsch as not their men's head coach,
I love this.
but as their MLS men's national head coach. The reason that they have to include MLS is because that federation is broke as hell in the most easy way to explain it. They have zero money. So the three MLS teams that are in Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, and
Montreal.
Yep, was missing that one. They decided that those owners would sponsor this, have a huge donation to get Jesse Marsch in. Boys, Jesse Marsch to Canada. He was somewhat rumored with the U.S. job. His agent came out on Twitter and showed that Jesse Marsch was a little upset that he did not get the U.S. job. What do you make this hiring for Canada? They get Jesse Marsch, who obviously has experience at the highest level, Premier League, RB Leipzig, Salzburg. Now he comes back to be a national team manager. Does his type of Red Bull pressing style fit Canada, you think? Or do you think it even fits national teams in general, Mike?
It's a weird one, dude. This one completely caught me by surprise. I don't know how well his style will fit the national team. I'm only familiar with really like the 4 best players on Canada, and then the rest of the guys are like, there's a few MLS names, and then I don't know them. So I couldn't tell you really. Is he a solid coach? Yeah, I think he's shown that at his time at Salzburg, especially. Is this a crazy move, a rivalry move, a move to get under Berhalter's skin on Jesse Marsch's part? Maybe. I kind of like it. I don't know, dude.
He didn't take this job for pettiness.
Maybe it was out of desperation. It seemed like he was holding out hope for a European job. I mean, that's what he had said on a podcast, just a month ago. So unless he changed tune dramatically or thought this was just a great opportunity, it was very weird to me. It makes the rivalry interesting. Maybe Canada will challenge us for CONCACAF like they did kind of just a few years ago. I like it, dude. I think these matches are going to be must watches. They already were.
Nick, do you think the tactics of Jesse Marsch fit Canada? They have some great wide players in terms of Tejan Buchanan and Alphonso Davies, and up top they have people like Kyle Larin and Jonathan David. He likes to play a lot through that center part of the field. Obviously, having 2 insanely great outside players, you're going to see how wide Davies and Buchanan end up playing. But do you think it works out for Canada and Jesse Marsch here? What do you rate this hire?
Have we ever really seen that like high pressing system work in an international setting? I don't know. Feels like not really. So I don't think I when you're doing international breaks and tournaments in the summer
Uruguay
after very
currently.
yeah, but it's like they're doing fine. They have definitely way more talent than Canada,
I
but
mean, yeah, the talent certainly helps, but
For
their
sure.
form is switched around quite a bit from their current.
yeah, I just don't know
current
how sustainable that is at a international level. I don't think that's a sustainable level. Period. I don't know how Klopp's been doing it for so long. Maybe that's why he's bowing out. But I don't rate the hire that much. I don't have the highest opinion on Jesse Marsh, if I'm being honest. I just have a higher opinion on him than Berhalter, which is why I think
Not
he
a
would have
high
been a
bar.
U.S.
Tight
guy.
margins. Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, Canada's kind of a joke of a federation. They're experiencing a mini golden age with some of these high end guys that they have. It's probably the best they could do. So I guess from that perspective, you can call it a good hire. I don't know. It doesn't scare me too much as a U.S. fan.
Yeah, doesn't scare me too much, but I do think the potential vengeful nature of Jesse Marsh trying to beat Greg Berhalter might scare me a bit to get his boys up for it. And he is a bit of a motivator.
He's not a
if
scary
not
man.
anything. Jesse
Like,
Marsh is a hell of a motivator, if anything, though. That is the one thing that I would say he is good at, is his motivation. Uh, Mike, we move from the Canada national team to Brazilian national team. They released their Copa America roster. Some big names are missing from it. Neymar, obviously, is the biggest one to be left off this. Casemiro left off, Gabriel Jesus, Richarlison, all not going to be going with Brazil to Copa America. What do you make of this roster? What do you think this means with really Endrick being one of the only strikers on there? Does that mean that they're going to give him a lot of playtime?
Yeah, I mean him or Evan Nilsson, or they don't really play a true striker and deploy Vinny more centrally, like he's done with Madrid. I thought it was weird. I mean, not a ton of experience. You could say the most experienced player on this team is either Marquinhos or the combination of Allison and Ederson. The midfield's relatively young, untested. A lot of good players. I believe it's a fully Premier League midfield uh, with the likes of Douglas Luiz and Lucas Paqueta and Andres Pereira, all those guys. So some serious talent in there, but lack of experience and lack of their best player in Neymar. I, I'm not as scared of Brazil as I would be if they were at 100%. I'll be real honest.
Yeah, I think Neymar missing is a massive part of the danger of Brazil. Was watching a compilation of some of his dribbles, and holy shit, that man is just
He's
different
different,
gravy.
dude.
Different gravy. Nick, we are going to get into your favorite part and also your least favorite part of this pod. We are talking about Tottenham Hotspur, who have just lost to Manchester City. Now, on a normal day, that might make Nick, our Arsenal fan, quite happy. But god damn it, it was the only game he needed to root for Tottenham, and they could not come through. They lose 2-0 to Manchester City. Son misses a wide open one-on-one. Nick, this begs a lot of question of what is next for Tottenham Hotspur, because this officially means that they are not getting into the Champions League. Congratulations to Aston Villa. But Ange Postecoglou had this team in first in the league. They were looking incredible. The high press was working for the first part of the season, and the second injury struck, it all fell apart, and it fell apart hard. They are no longer going to be in the Champions League after that crazy run of form. This game, obviously, it's versus Man City. You can't blame them that much, but man, they had their chances. They had their chance to come out with at least a result here. Tottenham fans will say that, they're not too upset about it. But man, there's some anger there. Bentancur punts a chair after the game. Ange Postecoglou in the post-game press conference said that both interior and exteriorly, the fundamentals, the foundation of the club is not right. Essentially making a jab that the fans have been really just all on Tottenham to lose this game to make sure their rivals Arsenal do not win the title. Not a Champions League level mentality there. What is next for Spurs, do you see here, Nick? Because it seems like they had things going for them and they're just not there yet. Is it just investment or is there something else that needs to change at Tottenham Hotspur fundamentally?
I think there's a couple of things, and I have one take that's been cooking about Tottenham for quite a while, and I'd love to get your guys' opinion on it in a second. But first of all, just to touch on some of the things you said, and Ange, I think, has done a great job with some of the leaders in his team of getting them up for the game. I think tactically, we have talked about his lack of flexibility, which I think hurts him. But I do not think that mindset is anything that is wrong with him or with his guys on the team, because he's inherited a lot of deadwood. Let's be honest. So I have very few questions about Ange and a whole lot of questions about Tottenham. I think for the most part, Tottenham played pretty well. I thought they were the better side in the first half. We talk about that Heung-min Son chance. Yeah, but as soon as Haaland scores, it's over. Man City was never gonna lose that game. Once they're up 1-0, they looked nervy. After half, Pep got into them, and I mean, they looked better at least. So, I think there was a lot of questions. Will Tottenham fold on purpose? I don't think that happened. I think Man City's just a better team, despite Man City not playing their best game. So we'll start there. Ange, by the way, you talked about that foundation comment, which I think is the big picture conversation to have here before I ask you my question later. But he is not alone in those comments. Both Conte and Mourinho have said very similar things about this Tottenham culture and how the expectations aren't high enough. Let's face it, I know I'm biased, but they are a shadow to Arsenal. They're losing 2-0. Their hopes in the Champions League are gone, and they're screaming, "Are you watching Arsenal?" like with joy in the stands. Ange turns around in the middle of the game and yells at fans, like at a guy like in the front row behind the bench, like is like yelling at the dude, like, "What the hell are you doing?" It's a small club mentality, but it's a small club, and they're they're little roaches. They're not serious. They never were. They're the first team in Premier League history when we've had 20 teams to win 8 of their first 10 games and not finish top 4. That's Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, I think there's huge problems. I think Ange is definitely the right guy, but I don't think Tottenham's the right club for Ange. And I think that there is serious concern that, I think there's a chance that he could go. I know that sounds crazy. I don't think it'll be this summer. It feels like they found the right guy, but eventually I think he's going to get sick of this, just shit club. If I'm being honest, the expectations aren't there. He's going to play in Europa next year. The recruitment won't be there as good as possible or as good as it could have been if they were in the Champions League. I don't believe in this project, not because I don't believe in Ange, but because I don't believe in Tottenham Hotspur. I think they're a shit club. I think they're a joke. I understand I'm biased, but I think they've been parading it themselves. You see Jamie O'Hara cheering for Man City against his own and like screaming when they go up 2-0 as they're like, it's just bad. It is really, really bad over at Tottenham. My take really that I would love to get your opinion on, because in the middle of the season, I put one Heung-min Son in my team of the season. And I understand that we've talked a lot about injuries, but the corrosion of this Tottenham team has also coincided with Heung-min Son falling off a cliff, if I'm being honest. He hasn't looked adept as a winger all season. As a striker, he was on fire early and now can't finish one-on-ones. This is a team that has been carried by 2 people these past 8 years, 10 years. One of them's gone in Harry Kane. And I think Heung-min Son is on a really steep decline right now. So my question to you is, do you guys think that, is this it for Son? Is he still going to be the same level of player? Should he leave? I personally think it's over.
I think that is a crazy take to say that Son is over.
He's been bad for a while, bro.
But Nick, he was great for the first half, and yes, he's had a bad spell here, but so is just Tottenham as a team. I think it's more of a team thing that they can't defend where shit, they've been allowing goals in like crazy. This was the first time in like 10 games that they lasted 30 minutes without allowing a goal in. Heung-min Son has this team on his entire back. And I think that is starting to weigh on him as we get later in the season, that he cannot be the Superman. He is not a Messi, Ronaldo, Eden Hazard, just absolutely drag somebody across their team if the team is struggling and needs something. He is if the team is doing all right, he's going to be that spear, but he's not going to be the one absolutely dragging them forward.
But that's what I'm saying. He was the one dragging them forward. This is the same man who scored against Man City in a semifinal and was screaming into the camera, "You know my name now," to Pep Guardiola, who called it the Harry Kane team. It's the same guy, and I mean, he's pretty nameless today.
Dude, I
Mike,
100% agree
what is
with
your
you.
thought?
The Sun facts are true. I mean, he's got like 3 goals and an assist in the last 10 games in the Premier League, and a bunch of those games are against pretty crappy competition.
That's like 2.5 months, bro.
Dude, it's a steep decline, but I'm going to attribute a lot of it to just fatigue. The dude plays 90 minutes almost every damn week. And in January, he goes to the Asia Cup of Nations and he plays till the semifinals. South Korea goes to extra time damn near every single game. He's on the field the whole time. He's running his goddamn, lungs out because that dude doesn't stop moving throughout the entirety of a match. His work rate is really unparalleled. Decline for sure. He's getting older. He's in his early 30s. The pressure of carrying this young team, this untested team, with not a lot of big players, big Premier League players at that in this team around him. It's pressure, it's fatigue, it's the fact that he doesn't have help, and maybe also a small decline in his heroicism, his ability to carry a club single-handedly. I don't think it's all a decline. I think it's a combination.
Okay, you talk about a small decline and no help. Wasn't this supposed to be the team signing of the season, James Madison? What the fuck happened to that guy? He's
Look,
gone.
Completely disappeared.
They lost Harry Kane. I think. Listen, Mike, I want your opinion on this one. Let's have Nick. He shares opinion on the negatives of Tottenham, of what's next. If you're looking at this from a more positive Tottenham perspective, they lost Harry Kane, their best player, by a large margin, and one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in world football at the moment. They lost him this summer. Ange Postecoglou comes in. It is his first summer with the team. They bring in James Madison, yes, but it's not like he's had, summers and a lot of time with this project. They looked promising to start. And I think the obvious sign was they did not have the depth. And that goes a little bit with it being his first summer. He didn't have all his players that he would have wanted. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, this is a positive sign. They were fighting for Champions League. He doesn't have the players he really wants. It's obvious that some of these players are not up to what Ange Postecoglou's standards are. It's obvious that sometimes the fans are not up to the standards that he wants, and he has to mold this culture as he moves forward. Is 5th place, getting Europa League after losing your best player,
loser
that bad? Yes, I understand it's not a winner mentality, but in a first year of a project, is it that bad to look at it as something optimistic?
There's 2 answers to this. At the beginning of the season, what I expected Tottenham to do, 5th place is great. I think they overperformed from what I was thinking with these other teams. But with the context of the entire season, the way they imploded, the way they started losing games, abandoning their play style, not listening to their manager, their form just as a whole.
Are you saying that 4 losses out of 5 is bad, Nick?
Apparently red is not as good as green. We're just finding that out in match week 37.
Listen, I think Mike hit the nail on the head. You can't put the expectations from last summer onto the expectations of what's actually been going on. And what's actually been going on is they choked the hell out of the way out of this top 4 spot. Okay. That's issue number 1. So in my opinion, yes, they underachieved the same way Liverpool underachieved because their expectations changed. That's just my opinion. Okay. If you want to look at the bigger picture, fine, you can do that, but that doesn't mean that they didn't choke away at the end of the season, both those clubs. 2, do you really think, Flags, that it's like the whole mentality of the club is not an issue? That as long as Ange has the right guys,
no, it is. Because if you're saying it's the first year of the project with Ange Postecoglou, he's going to have culture changes because he's going to wholesale get rid of people that are not about his culture. He is going to be able to bring in players that are about his culture, and he's going to continue talking to the press. He is, if anything, very candid with the press about exactly what he wants out of his fans and exactly what he expects his club to be doing. He's not going to let them continue being.
He's not going to be able to change that. What is he doing to change that?
A manager can set a culture.
A manager can set a culture, but he can't fix a rotten one.
It's a day, man.
Listen, I don't know.
I don't know. I think what's his ceiling? What's his cap at Tottenham? What's the best Ange can do at Tottenham?
Champions League. And maybe a
third
Carabao
place,
Cup.
second place.
He can get top 4 and he can win a Carabao Cup. I think those are both realistic for Ange Postecoglou. I think that the mindset that he has is that is not good enough. And that is the correct mindset to have, but that will never change at Tottenham Hotspur. Never. Agreed?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
his
about
aspirations
never,
are bigger than that of the fans. Like,
so what are you arguing though here though, Nick?
I'm arguing that he shouldn't be at this club. I think that this marriage has an expiration date. I think
is
that
it a top 6 club in the top league in the world.
I know what you are saying, and his ambition, I'm saying, is bigger than the club. And I think that will always be true, because I think that, again, we had this conversation last week, but the importance of top 4 of Champions League football at your club, forget playing on a Tuesday or Wednesday, the financial, the recruitment response, the belief that the players get. How do you think those players are feeling right now? You see Bentancur just like kicking the shit out of a chair. Like, they are down. They know they choked this away, and they only have themselves to blame. And their entire fan base is celebrating on the streets. Every single one of them is ecstatic, just out over the moon that they were able to stop Arsenal from winning a title. That is the mentality of that club. And I think he's eventually going to outgrow it.
We will see what happens with Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham. We'll end on that. This debate could go on forever. I do understand a bit of not wanting your rival to win, but I do believe that it also is that smaller club mentality, that a loss to a big rival like this in a big game that would keep your Champions League hopes alive is a bit
it's pathetic.
Small club. But let us know in the comments what you think is next for Tottenham, for Ange Postecoglou, where those mindsets match up. If Ange is maybe setting his hopes too high and is going to be let down, who he needs to bring in the summer to match what he wants to do. Mike, let's get into Man City's aspect of this. Have they locked up the title? They play one game more, but this was that big one that everybody was talking about. They look shaky. Tottenham had their chances in this one. It's their first win at Tottenham's new stadium. This team looks unbeatable. Mike, everybody on this team knows exactly what to do with the ball, plays into space. They created chances, and Haaland gets a brace on it. They bring in Doku, who gets a penalty drawn off the bench. He was electric. Was there any shot for Tottenham in this one?
Dude, there actually was a real shot. Like, I didn't give him any sort of shot, but there was.
So too.
Bentancur stung the hands of Ederson, forced a good save out of him. There were pieces of space that City didn't close out all that effectively. That's the issue when you play, 3-4 center backs, is really great possession, and then you're running back and you have trouble with fast wingers, dynamic wingers. So there were pieces there. Son, has the clearest chance there, really bottles it. It's an okay save from Ortega, but dude, you got to score that. And he does most of the time when he's in form. So there were chances, and no one gave him a shot, not even their own fans, pieces of shit that they are. But there were chances, and they definitely didn't take them. And yeah, it feels terrible. It feels inevitable. You're like, yeah, City did it. Oh, we should have expected this. But watching the game's an entirely different thing. They didn't look invulnerable. But the problem is their next game is against West Ham, who have looked very vulnerable. They looked horrible. Defensively, Kurt Zuma looks like he's surrounded by cats. He doesn't know where to focus. Goals are going in left and right. The midfield, which we credited a lot this season, they've gone to all sorts of shit. Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse were like, wow, great signings. I don't know where they've gone the last half of the season. Jared Bowen's gone real quiet all of a sudden. His Euro hopes are probably declining very, very rapidly. So, no, I don't really have any hope that West Ham does anything here. The hope was with Tottenham. The hope was with Tottenham's record versus Man City at home. And I fucking hate to see it, but I think the hope's gone. And it's been staring us in the face for a while now. We've just refused to accept it.
Yeah, I mean, we knew at a certain point with 5 games left or so when they had that advantage that it was going to be all but impossible for them to give it up because it is Man City. That did wrap up our top 4, though, with the result between Man City and Tottenham. It will be Aston Villa getting into the Champions League after their draw with Liverpool. Down 3-1, the Chicago Fireman, Duran, gets a brace to tie it 3-3.
Colombian.
He locks up the Champions League for Aston Villa. Aston Villa, great for them. They get into the Champions League. Liverpool, another disappointing result, I would say, to end their season. But Mike, I'll go again to you here for this one. How does Aston Villa fare both in the Premier League and in the Champions League next year? Because we know that European schedule can take quite the toll on a team. Do you think they're cut out for it?
I think they could be. They definitely need to bolster up their options, but they're sneaky deep at several positions. At least that's the way I see it. In the back line, they have several good fullbacks. When healthy, they have a number of good center back options, like actually really impressive players. Dibu Martinez, of course. And then you go forward, the midfield's pretty solid when they're healthy. I like the 4 rotational guys they have. They have some younger guys. Morgan Rogers comes to mind, who stepped up this season, is a pretty good player. John Duran was a good signing for them. Is a great backup for Ali Watkins. And then, they have some talent out wide with Moussa Diaby, who was a pretty good signing. I think was a bit underwhelming. Yeah. I thought he was going to have a bigger impact initially, but still a good player. And Leon Bailey, of course, as well. If they can have maybe one marquee signing, a really talented player in the center of the park to go next to Douglas Luiz and Kamara, that would be huge. And if they can have a few rotational signings, just to give them more depth, more options to rotate through players when they have Champions League and Premier League games in the same week, they could do something with the new Champions League format that could actually benefit them as well if they play some weaker teams. I'm interested to see what they do. This is the first time Aston Villa's been in the Champions League since the UEFA Cup was rebranded back in the 90s. So huge, really cool to see. Good luck to them next season.
Yeah, good luck to the Villa. Boys,
Villains.
It is finally here. It is Championship Sunday, and we still have our title race potentially to be decided on Championship Sunday. Of course, those 2 teams, Manchester City and Arsenal. Arsenal, Nick, will be going up against Everton. Man City versus West Ham. Arsenal here in this one going up against an Everton team that, if you're looking at this 6-7 weeks ago, easiest matchup to close out your season. Now, it will still take Man City dropping points, but Everton may provide a challenge here because they have not lost in their last 5 games. What do you want to see, regardless of what happens on the other game, from Arsenal in this one to close out your guys' season?
I mean, it has to be a very confident victory. It's at the Emirates. We're closing out statistically our best ever Premier League season. Again, most wins ever right now, more than the Invincibles. I think that it's been. Listen, I called it. My hopes have not been too high since the Villa game. I called it then. You guys saw my depression live on this pod. I knew what was going to happen. I mean, for God's sakes, Liverpool got 97 points and still couldn't beat this Pep Man City team. Like I mean, they're just winners. It is what they do. I'm sure we'll talk more about that later. But I called it, and I said I need to make sure that this team has the right mentality to be perennial title challengers. And what have they done? They've won every single game since then. And, I think that they can put the cherry on top of that and finish that, proving to the rest of the world that we are serious, that we are who we are. We are who we say we are who we think we are. And I mean, not to spoil my lock of the week, but I'm going 4-0 Arsenal. I think Everton has been scrappy. They've been well. They don't have the talent. They simply don't have the horses. I think they have maybe just out hustled a lot of teams, which I know sounds kind of reductive, but I think it's the truth. I think they've been fighting for their lives, and they did a great job of doing so. And I have a lot of respect for Sean Dyche and a lot of respect for Jordan Pickford and a lot of those players there. Not one of them have the talent to hold their own against Arsenal, in my opinion. So I think you're going to see a motivated team. Crazier things have happened in football. I think that sorry, to be in the starting 11. I didn't mean to do too many shots there.
I was gonna say, brother.
Apologies. A lot of them could be on this Arsenal team, just not in the starting 11. So I think, I'm expecting a 4-0 win. I don't think it's gonna matter. I feel 99.999% confident that it won't. But at the very least, it's going to be a pleasant way to close out our season. That ultimately is going to be pretty bittersweet.
Yeah, at the very least, you want to make Man City sweat because they are, like you said, perennial winners. This will potentially be their 4th Premier League in a row. Did anybody say Farmers League? But I mean, you want to make Man City
like
sweat
that,
a bit because there has been a lot of Man City title races where it's been done weeks and weeks before, and they can coast to the finish line. This time they are fully sweating. They cannot drop a single game here for their final 6-7 games because Arsenal is going toe to toe with them. Now Arsenal are that sliver behind, Mike, and Man City has that advantage where all they have to do is go into West Ham, a team that has been rather up and down this entire year. Their form has not been amazing as of late. Just 1 win in their last 5 coming in their last game. Give a percent chance that West Ham can save the footballing world from this Man City oil money empire that has dominated the Premier League.
I'll give them a 15% chance that they can get a draw. And
Damn, that's high.
And what if they're flying kites in practice? What does that drop to?
Oh, that goes up. That goes up to 45%, dude. I don't know what it is with the kites. We haven't seen it in these first 2 games, but the third kite game, I don't know.
Third time's the charm. They say it.
If I see kites and bubbles simultaneously, I'm putting money down on West Ham, and I'm putting it down big time.
I did see something. I want to get your guys' take on this because I was a bit surprised. Looking into Man City, Arsenal, their final games, I saw that West Ham fans were saying that would you rather lose this game versus Manchester City and give them the title than get a result and give it to Arsenal? Now, West Ham and Arsenal are still in London, but they are not the Spurs level rival that I think should be able to consider something petty like that. I understand it from a Spurs perspective, being petty. That I don't. Boys, is there what is this? Because to me, and I know we're Americans, maybe it's different, but Manchester City, to me, is so damn annoying. They have 116 charges and probably going to get even more. And yet they're winning every single year, and people are saying they'd rather give it to them than Arsenal. Is that, Nick, I know you're an Arsenal fan, so you're going to think it's crazy, but Mike, is that not just inadvisable at best?
Loser. You are a loser if you have that mentality. That is so dumb, dude. And I can't align with it at all. I am an Evertonian. If we want to spoil our rivals' title hopes, we do it ourselves. We go to Goodison and we take care of business because that's the only way to do it. You don't do it by losing games or hoping that your team loses games. That's just inexcusable. Loser mentality, small club mentality, never achieve anything mentality. So yeah, fuck out of here with anybody with that opinion.
I will
Nick,
say,
do you understand the Arsenal hate?
I don't think it's as crazy as you guys think. Of course, it's stupid. Of course, it's ridiculous. I don't think West Ham has any beef with Man City at all. And the West Ham, I forget the name of the Twitter account, but one of the main West Ham Twitter guys has been as a guy who's been in the trenches this year on Twitter. He's been in the trenches this year about the whole Declan Rice thing. And he's taken a very strong anti-Declan Rice take on him leaving. So I think that's where a lot of those sentiments kind of started. Yes, it's still small club mentality. Yes, it's still loser talk. I actually think it's not as bad as the Tottenham thing, despite a bigger rivalry, because West Ham's not fighting for anything. They're not. I mean, they can leapfrog Man U if Man U loses tomorrow, but when Man U loses tomorrow, they're they're not they're not fighting for anything. I don't like. If you're a fan, like, who cares? If Tottenham wasn't still in contention for top 4, I would understand people saying, like, let's lose. I would get that a lot more. West Ham's fighting for nothing. 8th doesn't get you shit even. So I don't care. I think they're gonna get shit on either way. So I don't think it matters. Maybe they're just trying to have some sort of silver lining already prepared once they get a dog walk 6-0.
Listen, West Ham is our final hope that Manchester City do not get their 4th straight Premier League title. Let's all hope and pray. Let's all hope and pray.
That Declan Rice thing, whatever. Yeah. I mean, $100 million, you reinvest it. You shouldn't have any qualms about it. Man City wants to buy Paqueta, man. So what about that, dude? Are we going to love Man City when they buy your second best player? Like, come on, double standards, hating Arsenal because they're doing it the right way. It's bullshit, man. You don't like football. You don't like competitiveness in football if you're supporting Man City.
Yep. I think that is our stance as a pod, and we will stick to it. God damn it!
No one's supporting them, so like they have about 17.
Dude, there's
fans.
20 guys. I saw 20 guys outside at Etihad the other day. They're all like 35.
Yeah, it is. It will be an interesting championship Sunday if West Ham can score a goal early. Holy shit! The TVs will not be more locked in at any point other than those remaining minutes. That will be something to watch and see how long West Ham can hold out, how long they can make us all
dude.
hold our breath. Yeah, Google gives them a 4%.
15 was high. 15 was
Google is a bit more cynic than Mike, and Mike has not necessarily been the nicest to the smaller clubs this year, so
I've not.
Google has been quite rough right here. Let us know what you think is going to happen. Championship Sunday, the title to be determined. Our great title race that has gone back and forth. Finally coming to an end this weekend. Championship Sunday. We will know by the next time we do this pod who will be our Premier League championship champions. Let us know in the comments what you guys think is going to happen. And let's get into the Premier League rundown. The rest of our games that we have this week, boys. We have Luton in their final match in the Premier League this year, going up against Fulham. I think there's a chance that they can get some points on the way out. Give their fans something to root for. Brother, it is a very big accomplishment to be in the Premier League, and I think they're going to fight to get a positive note to their time up here. I hope they do. They deserve something. They
6-0
left
win
a lot of
and
points out
0-6
there.
loss for Nottingham.
Yeah, technically there is a shot. So if they go for the 6-0 win, they are good. Nottingham Forest, as you mentioned, they're going to be going up against Burnley. So if they lose 6-0 to Burnley, once again, Burnley could be going for just a shot on the way out. But if they lose 6-0 and Luton Town win 6-0, god damn it, relegate them to League Two at that point. That is ridiculous. We have Liverpool. They're going to be ending Jurgen Klopp's reign under going towards Wolves here. A tough matchup here, I would say, for Liverpool that's not been that consistent. But boys, is there any shot that Liverpool would not show up in this one? Jurgen Klopp's final stand here for Liverpool.
Nah, they'll win.
Yeah, they're going to win.
Yeah, they might win big time there.
Dude, Wolves win.
I
This
just
one.
hope so. I want a Nunez hat trick there. Manchester United will be playing Newcastle in the midweek, but they will be playing Brighton on Championship Sunday. Quite honestly, this may be a extremely boring matchup. Brighton have not been great at scoring at all. Manchester United have just been playing like shit completely. I don't imagine this is going to be good television whatsoever. And if you asked me at the start of the year what I thought of this matchup, it might be exciting. Now that we are in Championship Sunday, holy shit, it is not. But Manchester United still potentially fighting for European spots here, so you'd hope they can come out looking maybe less shit is the bar for them. Newcastle, like I said, will face off Manchester United in the midweek, but they'll be ending their season versus the Brentford Bees, who just picked up an impressive win versus Bournemouth. We'll see how Brentford want to end their season if they go out on a high here. Newcastle, though, fighting for Europe. Certainly going to come into this one looking for those 3 points. Chelsea, their main adversary in that European race, will be going up against Bournemouth, a Cherries team that did just lose to Brentford, but besides that have been in some pretty great form. This one could be a pretty good matchup, whereas the Manchester United-Brighton one was not. This makes up for it. I think this will be an exciting one. A lot of attacking talent in this one. And Jesus Christ, speaking of attacking talent, Villa is going up against Crystal Palace on the last day of the season here. Crystal Palace has been in some run of form. Glasner has his players playing an amazing style, fits their athleticism, fits exactly what they need to do, and they're on a hot run of form. Villa will be very happy that they have Champions League locked up already. We'll see how they come out with this one, see if they maybe take it easy since they really have what they needed locked up, or if they really try and go for just as many points as they can get. And finally, Spurs will go up against Sheffield United. You would really hope that they get something positive here to end their season.
I hope not.
Our discussion earlier in this
They deserve
pod
to
about
lose.
what happens to Tottenham Hotspur moving forward changes, I think, a good amount if they end up losing to Sheffield United as well. That would be a tough one there. But boys, that was it for our Premier League Championship Sunday preview. We move into our locks of the week here. And Nick, you already teased your lock of the week a little bit, but why don't you recap what you had said here for us? And I believe we need to still go through our results here.
Yes, we do.
Man City
It's
did not win.
3-0?
It was 4-0, so you're one off.
And then
So get the 1 point. Arsenal over
1-0,
Manchester
right?
United. I believed in the Gunners a bit too much. 3-0, but it only is 1-0 there. And then Chelsea
did I nail that?
3-2. Forest. And Mike,
Who nailed that?
it's a
Mike nailed that.
doubler.
2-pointer, baby.
My goodness,
Let's
is he
go.
back
Is that the first one all year?
Wait a second. He got
Second
one.
one.
That
right.
is his
it's
second.
second.
That is his second. So he moves up to 18 points.
19.
Nick
Making
blew
it
up to
interesting.
20.
No, he's
I
at
believe-
18, bro. It's 2 points.
Yeah, it's 2 points.
Oh, I thought it was
brother.
3 for
Relax,
Green.
relax.
You already wrote it down.
I listen, I appreciate the effort of the comeback, but listen, in Championship Sunday, if Nick gets it wrong, Mike could tie it up with Nico. It would be an interesting one. I go up to 22. Nick, same situation. If I get it wrong and Nick gets the score right, he is tied up with me as well. So these locks
Still
do
up in the
matter
air.
here. Nick, what are you going with for our final lock of the week?
Yeah, I've seen Arsenal win meaningless final games in some high scoring fashion in the past. And that's what I think will happen once again this year. Arsenal 4, Everton 0.
All right. Mike, you are choosing a matchup that is quite like cheese. A bit stinky.
Yeah. Stinky.
What are you going with here?
Bless you, Nick. Let's go Brighton, Man U, 0-0. Don't watch this game. 'cause it's gonna suck,
Yeah.
dude.
The worst part is I have a lot of confidence in that prediction. I'm a little worried.
Pulling out all the stops, dude.
For 1 week and 1 week only, if you hit your final prediction score, it's 3 points instead of 2. Let's make this interesting.
Dang.
Let's not
I like
make
that.
this
No, because then
much
it
the same
could change
rules.
it up instead of tying. That's good.
All right, I have
like it.
gone with Newcastle. Again, I guess not again, since I had to go with Burnley before. But Newcastle beating Brentford 2-1. Let's see if the Magpies can get it done here in their final game.
Neil Maupay is about to sabotage you.
Neil Maupay, good
Is he
God.
even playing anymore?
I have no clue, dude.
I haven't seen
That
him in
guy's-
ages.
No,
That
I
guy's
didn't.
Twitter is active, and he is a funny guy, I will say.
You can just call him a
He's
goon.
troll.
That's okay.
All right, enough. Neil Maupay. We don't need to preview him here on Championship Sunday. We are not going to have our question with Producer P. Is that correct, Producer P?
What?
Idiots.
I- I don't know what you're talking about. I have a question ready. Is that what you're saying?
Let's do a quick one.
All right.
We're running way over time.
Let's do a quick one then.
Okay. This is a quick one. It's mostly for Nick.
Okay, cool.
Damn.
All right, get it out. Get it
All right,
out.
You guys can leave.
I'll see you next time.
Boys. Nick.
Boys.
I know it's a tough topic to think about, but there is ever so slightly the possibility that Man City does draw to West Ham and Arsenal goes up to tie with them for points.
Well, there's not.
Yeah, they had time points.
Actually,
Right,
as a
but
matter
our
of fact,
goal-
yeah, no, you're right. You're
Yeah, I
right.
didn't
Never
even
mind.
realize
Goal
well,
difference.
got
We
all
would
the
win
way
both
down.
times.
That wasn't
Yeah.
my question. Don't talk. We're not talking about that. Is this guy the handsomest dude in football?
Not Griezmann. Griezmann's
Not
ugly as
Griezmann.
No, this dude.
But Giroud's up there
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely Giroud.
Giroud's up there
No.
for sure.
No?
Wayne
No,
Rooney.
it's Sean Dyche.
It's a
All right,
down
well,
got
that was a
certain,
fumble.
Regalness to him. He looks royal.
Okay. Let's wrap up the show.
All right.
Especially in a track.
That will be it for this Championship Sunday episode. Nick, give us an up the Gunners here. Give us all the hope you have.
Yeah, it's been a good year. I've watched a lot of great football. I can't complain too much. It will end in disappointment. But that doesn't negate all the great stuff that's happened this year. So for the final time before game day, up the Gunners. Let's pray for a miracle. And please, everyone in London, burn those kites.
A lot of kites over there in London being flown. Mike, Everton, go up against Arsenal here. Are we saying up the Toffees, or are we moving over to the Gunners to make sure that Man City can't win the title?
Up the Gunners, up the Toffees.
Small
up 'em
club
both.
mentality.
And up David Moyes. David Moyes, if you ever do anything for me, do it this
Do it now.
weekend.
Yeah.
Do it for everybody involved. Do it for the podcast. You don't have a job at the end of the season. We are hiring. We would love to have you. But it's contingent on a result this weekend. Let's be honest here. So show up or don't show up at all. Up the fucking Toffs.
David Moyes, Swan Song versus Man City. Here we go. That'll be it for us. Catch us next time. Subscribe, like, comment, do whatever the fuck you want. Peace.
Fuck you, Man City.